Okay, guys, so thank you so much for coming. Today, we're going to talk about buyer leads, the different types of buyer leads that we have available to us, and the ways that we want to connect with them, right? That's the most important thing in this job because what we're doing is we are helping people make a huge decision. Today, we're talking about buyer leads, and these people are probably spending the most money they've ever spent on anything when they are speaking with you. And so we need to come across as a resource to them. And we need to understand the process from just talking to someone who's thinking about buying through them moving in and the relationship we're going to have after. And so, what we really need to do is ourselves understand the process, and make sure that we're doing a service for these people, right? We are in a service industry. We're here to help people, engage them, make them feel comfortable with decisions that they're making and things like that. And again, all we can do is be a trusting resource to help them save time and money. So again, most of the time, these leads will come in over the phone. And for those of you who've received the Weichert.com leads, and the Weichert Lead Network leads, you'll get a call saying, "Hey, it's Chris from Weichert Lead Network. I've got Jane on the phone. She's looking for up to $500,000 in Soho, or she's looking at 303 East 57th Street. Can you help her?" Right? And so that's it, right? You have to pick up the phone, being on these lead sources and being available to take them. Weichert.com comes in over the phone. OpCity comes in over the app, and then they call you. So you've got to click on the app. And again, it's important to make sure that you are accepting these things in a very timely fashion, right? I get the stats every week, and the people who win the OpCity leads click on them within like 2 seconds, basically. If you wait 5 seconds, it's not going to happen. So you see the OpCity lead, you accept it, you're going to be connected over the phone. So, no relationship can be built over text and email alone. I think this is incredibly important for any time you're working with someone, right? In this technological day and age, we often think that people don't want to talk, right? They don't want to see you. And some clients are that way. But if someone is going to be spending a lot of money, right? You need to have a face-to-face conversation, even if it's over Zoom, at some point along the way. And again, that's what the buyer consultation is meant to be. When you get this lead that comes in, you have to be friendly, and you need to, smile while talking, right? And the way I have it is, they'll connect us and, "Thanks so much for calling. I'm excited to help you with your home search. I'm excited to show you this property. I'm excited to be working with you," right? You need to have a great attitude if you want someone to want to work with you. Again, think of it when you walk into a store, right? If the clerk is in a pissy mood, you're much less likely to want to work with them. The same thing is true with us, right? You need to say, "So excited to help you, really excited that you're buying right now because it's a great market for buyers." Whatever you say. And again, I think the easiest is, "Thanks so much for calling. I'm excited to help you with your home search," right? And that's it. Again, right now is the best market for buyer leads. And so interest rates are still at historic lows. People in coronavirus have been reconsidering their living situation, upsizing, downsizing, wanting outdoor space, wanting to be closer to the park, closer to the water, whatever it is, right? And so people are moving across the city. And again, buyers are thinking usually, and again, I apologize, this got cut off, but buyers are thinking about the long term, right? Like most of the time when people are buying, it's because they want to live there for some set period of time, 5 to 10 to 20 to 30 years or whatnot. So it's a great time to be in the market for purchasing something. So again, they're going to call you, right? Your first step is say, "Hey, so excited to work with you," whatever. It's a great either building or apartment, right? Based on what they say. When would you like to see it? Or if it's a neighborhood, you say, "I love Soho. When would you like to go out and see properties?" If they ask for the same day, and again, a lot of times it's going to be with a, another broker, the listing. You just have to say, "Hey, the owner or the seller's agent needs some notice. How about," and give them two times that work for you, right? And again, who cares if the property can be shown then, right? What we're doing is we're buying ourselves some time to then confirm all the details, get all the information together, right? And to set up notice. Again, it doesn't matter if it's off the market. Like, don't go and try to go into the MLS and figure out everything, right? Maybe you know about the building. If you do, great. You can share some information on it. Take the time to get off the phone, do your research, confirm when it can be shown, and then get back to them, right? So all you want to do is confirm. great if they say, hey, I want to see the stay at 4. You know what? Unfortunately, the seller needs some notice. Is there a time tomorrow that works for you? I'll confirm that it can be shown, and I'll call you right back, right? That's it. And then get off the phone, right? And what I say is I'm going to confirm the appointment with the seller's agent and be in touch shortly, right? We don't want to say listing agent, right? We want to say seller's agent, because that helps define the fact that we are going to be working with them as a buyer's agent, and there's also a seller's agent. I think it's 95% of deals that are done across the city for sales have two agents involved, one as the seller's agent and one is the buyer's agent, right? And this is what the buyer consultation does. It explains our role as a buyer's agent and how to really help people in their home search, right? It doesn't matter, it's not your listing. And again, part of the discussion we're going to have down the line is how to explain our role. But all you want to do is confirm when they want to see it, and then you go and do your research. So again, I always call the seller's agent, right? Because usually people will pick up their phone faster than they will respond to an email. So I call them and I confirm the details, right? A, if it's on the market, B, if they have any offers, C, what's going on with it? Why has it been on the market for 300 days? Or if not, oh, just listed, looks great. If it's a co-op, find out the sublet policy. If there's a flip tax. If it's not in OLR, and again, sometimes, especially the ones from Op City come from Realtor and stuff like that, you want to confirm that they co-broke and what they're offering to Weichert for you as the buyer's agent, right? Just confirm that they do. There will be firms that won't share a commission with you, right? And that's the case, and that's okay. We can talk about that when we come to it. But what you want to do is confirm they're paying something. Again, if the listing's not in OLR, which should have all the co-brokes, sometimes in Streeties you'll have it as well. But you want to get confirmation in writing. So all you have to do is send a quick email to the person after you get off the phone with them. And again, the seller's agent after you get off the phone with them. And you say, just wanted to confirm our conversation. If I bring a buyer, you're paying 2.5% to Weichert Properties. And they usually confirm back, yes, great. You got something in writing that's enough for us to go on, right? If they ask about the client, right? If they say, tell me about your client, you just say, oh, it's a referral. We just started working together not too long ago, right? Because it is a referral. It's a referral from a third-party source. It's a great way. I'll get you all the information shortly. Are they pre-approved? What's their price point? Where are they looking? All that stuff. Again, you can kind of get all that information to the seller's agent later when you confirm the appointment. So then again, you want to go and you want to call the lead back, right? And confirm the date and time of the showing. And ask if they can do coffee afterwards or have a few minutes to discuss the search, the process. If that day doesn't work for them, then try to find another day. And what you want to do is send them the listing that they called on, right? If they called on 303 East 57th Street, Apartment 2 CD, send it to them through OLR, right? Because then they have a lot of the information. You have the information, and they can see it. If it's not on OLR, check Weichert.com or your My Weichert site and see if you can send it there. Worst case, cut and paste the information from Realtor, Zillow, StreetEasy, something like that, right? You don't really want to give those websites to them because those are kind of consumer facing and they might get confused as to, who they're contacting and whatnot. And again, you want to keep them in your wheelhouse. And that's why OLR is great. It's branded to you. Weichert.com is great because it's branded to Weichert. And also, your Weichert site also, if it comes up through there, great. Send them the link to there. So the next thing that you want to do is set up the search for the client, right? And usually when we're back on the phone confirming the appointment, we can ask a little bit about what they're looking for, right? Oh, are you primarily looking in Soho for $500,000, right? Yeah, great. I'm looking for a 1-bedroom, yada, yada, right? Those really basic things come across easily from the beginning, right? So I add the client to my Weichert. And again, if it's a Weichert Lead Network client, it's going to automatically go in there. And add a search, right? And in my Weichert, we have the opportunity to put up listing alerts for any client that we have in there, right? And so if they're looking for a 1-bedroom in Soho for $500,000, I'd probably set up a search from $400,000 to $600,000 in Soho for a 1-bedroom, right? And then every time something comes in the market, it's going to send it to them. I do it in my Weichert because then it's automated and I can see what they're looking at through the system, right? If you need to do it in OLR, you can totally do it there as well. And again, try to find a few more options and go over it with them, right? And tell them on the phone that you can show them anything they find online, right? Anything they see online, send over to you. You can do the vetting process for them. That's a service that we provide to our clients, right? They might find something that's off the market, that's old, that has crazy maintenance fees for a co-op or something like that, right? Our job is to help people make an informed decision. And so going through this helps them save time, right? And so make sure you're telling people that. If you see anything else that you want to see online, I can help you with it, right? I can show it to you. It comes at no cost to you whatsoever. So again, confirm, right? Confirm the showings beforehand. I always confirm with the listing agent and the client the night before and the day of. I just want to make sure everyone's on the same page. And again, let's say you make it to the showing, right? Great. You're in front of the person, you're with the other agent, right? So you want to be extremely friendly, right? You want to ask them questions about themselves and build a rapport. I wait until I meet with them in person to confirm their mortgage pre-approval, right? And let me repeat that. I wait until I meet them in person to confirm that they're pre-approved for mortgage. And why do I do that, right? Think about this. You're getting a call from someone that doesn't know you from, anyone else on the street. And if the first question you say is, are you pre-approved, right? You're going to get one of two responses. Number one, they're going to be defensive, saying, oh, you think I can't afford this? Well, I can. Or number two is they're going to be like, why is he asking me this? I haven't even met this person, right? So my best practice is to not ask about the mortgage pre-approval, right? There might be an agent who requires you to send over the pre-approval letter before they'll confirm the appointment. If that's the case, then I go back to them and I have that conversation with them, right? But I like to be in person in front of them and talking about my services when I ask this question, right? Again, if someone calls you on the phone, how much money are you worth? How much money is in your bank account? Are you going to answer that, right? And again, it's personal financial information. So I confirm in person, and what I say to them is, if they don't have one, and again, certain leads that you're going to get, you cannot give out Weichert Financial, and the reason for it is that they give out a preferred lender, and so again, we can talk about that a little bit more. But if they say, "Oh, I'm not pre-approved yet," I say, "Not a problem. I would love to have Doug Cleary, my amazing mortgage specialist, give you a call and help get you set up with your mortgage pre-approval." And 9 times out of 10, they say, great, right? If they say, oh, you know what? I actually work with Wells Fargo. I want to go with them. Then my next question is, do you have someone at Wells Fargo that you are going to work with? And if they say no, I say, not a problem. Let me introduce you to Bruce at Wells Fargo, who's an amazing mortgage specialist that I've worked with before, right? Part of our job in doing all of this is to have a team together to help people. And by even just saying that, you're building their confidence in you. And so you might be asking me, I don't know anyone at Wells Fargo. Well, it's not a problem, right? You can ask me. And if you're with them and you don't have that information yet, you can say, oh, you know what? We've got a great person we work with at Wells Fargo. I forgot their name, but let me get you that shortly, right? And they're going to see you as a resource, right? You're giving them someone at a bank that they want to work with who will work with them, right? If not, you're giving them someone at Weichert Financial who is someone who can work with them as well, right? And again, maybe they say, oh, I want to check out 10 different bankers. Not a problem, right? You need to get the best rate possible. But why don't we start with Doug and we can go from there. So, the next thing I do at the showing is I always tell them, again, I say, Weichert is the Amazon of real estate, right? We use Amazon because it's convenient. You can buy everything you want under one website. In the same way, you can get any real estate service that you need through Weichert, right? And again, I'm here to help you find the property. Doug is here to help you finance the property. We have Jamie, who's here to help you insure the property. We have movers we can recommend, contractors, whatever you need, right? And that's the benefit of working with me. I have a full team at my disposal to help you with any needs you might have. And they're going to be like, great. I also then try to do the buyer consultation, right? And before we meet with them, we ask them if they have a little bit of time afterwards, right? We'll go over the buyer consultation next, but basically what you can do is you can go over the process with them of purchasing in New York. Many times people who are coming through these websites are first-time home buyers, right? And so it's important to go over all of the steps of purchasing a home. And especially in Manhattan and Brooklyn, where many of the apartments and Queens and the Bronx and kind of everywhere, we have a lot of co-ops, right? And that's a different process. It's a daunting process, but it's not that hard once you're used to doing it. So what you want to do is you want to go through that process with them because it helps them believe that you know the process, right? And again, I can tell you, I know the process in and out. I can do the buyer consultation without even seeing it. And you should be able to do that too, right? And even if you've never sold a co-op or condo, you should be able to explain the process from pre-approval through closing to someone. And that's an important skill to have. So that's what the buyer consult's for. And again, we're going to go over that after these slides. So the other thing that I do is, again, I kind of try to talk to them about let's say we saw 2 or 3 apartments. I talk to them about them, what they think and stuff like that. And then the next thing I ask before they leave is, when are you next able to go out? I would love to have a time in case I find something that seems perfect based on the feedback you gave me. And again, sometimes like, oh, I'm not sure. I'm like, well, it's usually after work better for you on the weekends. Well, and most of the time people will give you a time, right? Great. Just I'm gonna block off, Saturday, from 3 to 4 for us. And if anything comes up, I'm gonna make that appointment and I'll confirm it with you. Don't worry about that. But again, it puts it in their mind that you guys are working together. And always follow up the next day. Hey Joe, it was so nice to meet you yesterday. Really enjoyed seeing 123 Main Street with you. I would love to get your feedback if there are any. I always like to share that with the seller's agent, right? It's an important thing to do. Again, if they say I can't sit with you and do the buyer consultation now, that's not a problem, right? You just say, hey, could we set up 20, 30 minutes over Zoom to do it? And again, part of that is that you need to have the Fair Housing and Agency Disclosure Form signed, right? Within the first week of getting the lead. And our requirement is that if you get a Weichert lead from any of these lead sources, which we'll discuss, within the first 5 days of getting it, you need to do the buyer consultation with them, right? And the kind of the proof is that you'll have the Fair Housing and Agency Disclosure Forms signed by them as well. So again, what you need to do during the buyer consultation and during your time with these people is really sell your value as a buyer's agent, right? And what do? We save our clients time and money, and they're getting expert opinions and advice all at no cost to them, right? So in terms of saving time, we do the legwork. We find properties, or if they want to do the search on their own. And again, these days, so many people, I've got clients that honestly, I barely send them listings because they're just constantly looking on StreetEasy and sending them to me, right? And so they're like, what do you think? What do you think? What do you think? Right? And that is a real service. And I get back to them and I say, this is what I think. This is what I think. And they're like, great, let's see this. Let's not see this, right? You set up the appointments for them, right? And in this day and age, that entails a lot of work because we've got a bajillion COVID forms we have to sign, right? So we're doing that and taking the burden of that off them, right? They're not going to forget about an appointment. They're not going to go to the wrong house and things like that because we're there to set everything up for them. You have a team, attorney, mortgage, insurance, contractors, whoever it is, right? And so we can help them with all of those different parts of the process. You know how to go through the board approval process for condos and co-ops, which again is daunting for a buyer. And it's a pretty simple process once you get the hang of it. Again, even if you haven't gone through it personally, I've gone through it and I can help you to go through it. And we also save people money, right? We know the market and can figure out what something is worth based on our experience, comps, the different databases like Urban Digs and things like that. We are negotiating on behalf of the buyer, right? Our fiduciary responsibility, our care is to the buyer, right? If they walk into an open house and they go to the seller's agent, right? They cannot receive the same level of care as they could by working with us. They can't receive the same amount of information as they could by working with us because that agent is working for the seller, right? It's important for them to understand that. And again, to say, I am here to represent you, your best interest, and I do this all at no cost to you whatsoever, right? And when people find that out, they're like, great, sign me up. It's an amazing thing when you let them know something they didn't know. And once again, as long as you've built some sort of relationship, they're likely to be extremely loyal. And again, I'm not saying that 10 times out of 10, they're going to want to work with you, right? Maybe they have other friends who are brokers. Maybe there's other things. But by doing this, you are building a relationship and you are helping these people understand the process, right? And that is valuable to people. The last thing we do to help them save money is connect them to services, contractors, inspectors, movers, real estate attorneys, right? That's an important one, right? Everyone's going to need a real estate attorney in New York. Many people don't have one. Some people have them; they're very expensive. We've got a number of real estate attorneys that we can refer out and work with, and it's a great way to again help people save money as well. So again, let's say you went on, you did the buyer consult with them either electronically or kind of in person. What's next, right? So you want to send them options. And that's why it's so important to get their reaction to what you saw, right? What did you think? I was overpriced, right? Well, that's not enough, right? So what we want to say is if they say, oh, it was overpriced, say like, you know what? I totally agree with you. what would you buy that for, right? If you had to put a number on that home, what would you put on it? And that helps you get a sense of how realistic they are. They might say, oh, you know what, the kitchen, I liked it, but the kitchen was way too small. Great. So then what you want to do is send them, 5 or 6 options, right? Don't ever send more than that in an email, because you want to give them an opinion and you want to make sure that you know why you sent them the listing. It's very, very important to give the why, right? And that again helps build a relationship. For me, again, if they say, oh, the kitchen was too small, then the next 5 listings, or again, maybe it's only 2 on the market, whatever it is, I'm going to say, these have eating kitchens, these have great kitchens, right? You mentioned you like to cook. This one has a great kitchen. Um, you know, right now there is a kind of a little bit of a lack of inventory in certain price points and things like that in New York. And so it's not like stuff is coming on every day potentially for them, right? Once you put them into My Weichert, and potentially also into OLR, they're going to start getting listings every day. Make sure that you get those as well. But follow up with them every day, every other day, just to check in, right? It's not harassing them. It's keeping them updated on the market. If you think by reaching out to someone every couple of days, you're harassing them, this is not the job for you, right? Because we need to help people. We need to be on top of them and things like that. So again, new options and why you like them. Nothing new is on the market, but I've been looking. Or have you seen anything online? Are you available this weekend to go see some properties in case they come in, right? You need to stay in touch, stay a resource, and stay top of mind with them. And again, once you start building that relationship, you're often, and when you're actually active with a client, you're probably talking every day. And that doesn't necessarily mean you're seeing stuff, but you're talking about the market. Oh, hey, this thing that we saw went into contract, right? You're keeping on top of everything. And that's a really important thing to do. So again, this is the hardest thing because we really want to put money in our pockets as quickly as possible, right? And that's really why I teach rentals first, because the most important thing for you is to have some sort of, steady income and things like that. Rentals are a great source of a couple deals a month or something like that. But most buyers, and this is not to say this is not the case, because always the case, I apologize. Most buyers take 4 to 6 months to find their apartment. This is not a let's go see 3 places and put in a bid. In some markets, that is the case. And I can tell you a number of agents have pretty hot leads that they've been taking out. And they've gone into contract one showed one property and went into contract and is closed now. Another person has taken out like 5 buyers and like 3 of them have put in multiple offers. It's just a very active market. So a lot of times these will happen quickly, but be patient with people, right? This is a huge decision. This is not just renting an apartment for a year. This is buying an apartment they're going to live in for a number of years. So again, it's not like going into a store and buying a pair of shoes where they're just going to make a snap decision. We need to be a trusted resource. And I can tell you, some of my best clients are the people who kept being like, I'm so sorry I'm taking so long. I'm so sorry I'm taking so long. But I did a really good job for them. And they referred me the most clients, more so than the people that I took out, for a week and then found something. So again, it's about building a relationship. And if you think of it, and if you like people, right, and you really need to like people to be in this business. If you like people, it's fun to go out, right? And I use the example from this weekend. I took out one of my clients on Sunday, and we've been going out for about 2 months at this point. Every other weekend or so. And he's like, oh, you must be sick of me already. And I'm like, no, I like this. I actually really like it. Number one, I get to spend time with you and build the relationship with that client, right? So that's great because we've really grown to trust each other, which I think is very important. And again, at every price point. I've also been able to really start to see properties on the market, right? And sometimes it's hard for us to go and preview properties, especially with COVID and whatnot, where we might want to before. So if you have a client, right, and you're taking them out every weekend, you're going to get to know a market. And that knowledge is so important, even if this person doesn't buy something, right? I was speaking to one of the agents and they were getting a little frustrated because they were working with a rental client and they took them out, 15 times or something like that. And they decided not to move. And they said, I just wasted, or they saw 15 apartments, sorry. So I think it was like 3 days of their time or something like that, right? And there is a cost to that, right? Unfortunately, there's a cost to that. There's an opportunity cost of maybe taking out someone different, doing some marketing instead. But I said to them, do you know the 1-bedroom Upper West Side rental market now? She goes, yes. And I said, how valuable is that? And she's like, you know what, you're right. So now you know what buildings to exclude. So maybe you'll never show a building again because it's an awful building and the apartments are tiny, and or maybe you tell the client that, hey, you called on this one, it's really small, but I got this one, which is $50 more a month and huge. Do you want to see it? Yes, right? So you're saving yourself time down the road. Again, it's important to remember we're in this for the long haul. And again, the other thing is, make sure that you reiterate to them, I am here to help you make an informed decision. I'm here to help you save time and money, all at no cost to you whatsoever. I am paid by the seller at closing, but my fiduciary responsibility is to you, right? And if you can say that, right, I save you time and money at no cost to you, it's a great thing. And people will be open and receptive to working with you, right? Sometimes people can get a little confused, right, of who you are when they're reaching out to you, right? And so I always, again, have a conversation with them before we even go out and say, hey, I just wanted to explain to you my role in this. I work in the neighborhood as a buyer's agent. I'm here to help show you properties and help you take best advantage of the market, connect you to all points of service along the way. And this is done at no cost to you whatsoever. Again, I'm paid by the seller at closing. You don't pay me anything. Everyone's like, wow, great. Explain that to people, right? And make sure you can say that. I work for you. I'm a buyer's agent. I'm an expert in the neighborhood. I can help you save time and money during the search. Again, I always say I have 13 years of experience and I've sold, countless condos and co-ops. And I'm paid by the seller at closing. I'm here to help you and represent you, because if you walk into an open house, that person represents the seller, not your best interest. People are like, great, and they work with you. So again, even if you've never sold an apartment before, it's totally fine. I have a team who's been in the business, right? And I said this for my first 5 years. I've been doing this for 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, 2 months, whatever it is. And I'm eager and I really know this market. And I have an amazing team of people. My manager's been in the business for 13 years. We have people who've been doing it 20, 30, 50 years in my office, and we all work together. So you've got an amazing team with, with decades of experience behind them. Just as a reminder, again, these are kind of the four main Weichert buyer referrals that we have. Weichert Lead Network, Realtor.com and StreetEasy, OpCity, and intra-office referrals and things like that, right? And so again, they all have a percentage off the top, and they all have a different split. Again, Weichert Lead Network is a 50-50 split after the referral. Realtor, OpCity, and the other ones are your split. Again, we tend, let's say you get a call from a Weichert agent, hey, I've got a buyer looking to buy in New York. Do you want to take them? Great. What's the referral fee? Oh, and again, I usually say I always give it 25%. So I always ask for 25%, right? And I think that's very fair. If they want something higher, again, that's up to you to negotiate. For all of these lead sources, right? Because these are kind of coming through agents or the company, you are required to do the buyer consultation within 5 days of a new company lead, right? So if you get a Weichert Lead Network lead, you have 5 days, and again, it has to be 6 days, okay, but this is how you build a relationship, and this is how you're going to get them to want to work with you. And again, our next step is going to be to go over the buyer consultation. So again, thank you guys. I'm going to stop this recording for a second. Okay, so we're going to go through the buyer consultation. And again, I think let me make it a little smaller. I think the nice thing about this is that, a lot of this can be done in person and fairly quickly, right? And so you have this packet, and I'm basically just going to go through it as if you guys were potentially buyers and things like that, just to show you kind of how to do it and what it sounds like. So again, thank you guys so much for taking a few minutes to meet with me. I find that one of the best things to do is really just go over the step-by-step process for buying a home in New York City. And this can really help us in terms of making sure that you're prepared for the journey ahead. So we're going to talk about the market. We're going to talk about the process, what it's like to work with me as a buyer's agent, and then really talk about, getting the search going. So I know, again, you mentioned that you guys are moving here from Pennsylvania, and that's why you're coming. But are there any other reasons for you moving to the city? You pause, you give them a reason, this creates a dialogue, right? These are the things that help start building a relationship if you don't know it. Oh, actually, and again, one of my clients said this, we're actually looking to start a family, right? And so that's why we're moving to New York City. So yeah, so why don't you tell me about your dream home? Like where would you like to live? And I know you mentioned and the property that we saw today was in Soho. Are you really kind of looking here? Are there other neighborhoods? Again, this gives them time to talk about what they want, what they need. The most important things here, I think, are to understand the difference between co-ops and condos, right? And this is my explanation, right? So again, you might have heard of a lot of nasty things about co-ops. They're not that hard of a process, actually. The biggest difference in home ownership is that in a co-op, you're buying shares of a corporation that owns the building. With those shares, you get the use of the apartment. So for all intents and purposes, you get the apartment, you get the use of that apartment like you would in a condo. Co-ops often, not always, but often have a little bit stricter of a sublet policy, but the pricing is a little bit better. And again, it tends to be between 20 and 25% lower. The other thing is that co-ops have lower closing costs, so that's a real benefit that you can have as well. That's basically it, right? In the market, there are tons and tons of co-ops that are not flexible at all with subletting. There's some that are allow unlimited subletting, right? So don't, if they say, oh, we want to be flexible, don't necessarily rule out co-ops, right? There are some condos that charge like 6 months common charges to rent out the apartment, right? That's expensive, and so it's a little bit stricter of a co-op, a condo. So again, we're going to talk about interest rates, inventory, and what's happening in the market. So again, right now we're at one of the lowest interest rates in history. So it's really a great time to be a buyer. Your money is going further than it would in any other market we've had. Again, prices in Manhattan are lower than they have been. They are starting to steady out right now, especially in Soho. But with rates so low, it really is a great time to buy. And again, because we're starting to see a flip in the market from a buyer's, from a seller's market, a buyer's market into a seller's market, we're starting to see some great appreciation and things like that. And so what that's doing is it's starting to push home prices up. So again, now is really a great time for you to be buying. This chart just kind of looks at what's happening. Again, interest rates, let's say about 3%. If they were 4%, you would basically be paying another $334.64 a month on a $750,000 home purchase, right? And so over the course of your 30-year loan, that would cost you $120,000 more. So interest rates really have a dramatic bearing, especially since we work mostly with 30-year rates here in the United States. I really want you to know, and I think it's important to just pause for a second and let you know that it's very important to see what's happening in the market. And again, properties that are priced well are flying off the shelves. Although we've seen a bit of a drop in purchase prices across the city, things that are great, with outdoor space that are underpriced for the market are going into contract quickly. I can tell you a couple examples of myself and other coworkers who have been in bidding wars over the last week. And so again, we are seeing a shift in the market. That's not to put pressure on you whatsoever, right? I'm here for you for the long haul. If it takes a week, a month, a year, whatever it is to find the right property for you. But I do want to let you know and make sure we're prepared. And part of us doing this presentation is to get you prepared for what's going on with the market. And again, some properties are going into contract very quickly. So this is an outline of the home buying process in New York City. And again, it starts with this consultation that we're doing and making sure that you're pre-approved. Are you guys currently working with a mortgage broker or banker, or do you have a pre-approval letter? And again, give them time to talk about it. This is where you can introduce Weikert Financial and things like that. Again, we're going to go see more homes. Once we do find the home that you love, we're going to put together an offer. And the important thing to know in New York State is that offers are made in good faith, but they are not binding, right? And what does that mean? That if we put in an offer, you have a chance for you and your team, a home inspector, a real estate attorney, to do the due diligence before you sign the contract, right? And so that means that you're not signing when we put in an offer, but we are putting in an offer in good faith, and we're including our pre-approval letter, and we're also including for a co-op a REBNY financial statement, which we'll talk about down the road. So again, it's great for you because it means you can put an offer on something you like and still make sure that everything is good before you actually sign our in contract. The downside to that is that if the seller gets a better offer, they might move forward with it. And again, it doesn't happen that often unless you're really far off from the price that they're asking, but it can happen. And that's why we want to make sure you have a real estate attorney ready So when you do find a place, we can move forward quickly. Do you happen to have a real estate attorney? And again, let them talk about if they do or not and go from there. Um, so again, any appraisals are done and things like that before, any inspections are done before before you sign the contract. Again, we purchase things in New York in as is working order usually. And so if you do want an inspector to come in, and again, most of the time, people for single family or multifamily homes will have an inspector. For co-ops and condos, because the roof, the elevators, all that are the property of the co-op or the condo. Oftentimes people don't, but if they want to, they can. That should all be done either before you put in an offer or while the offer is being negotiated. Again, board approval, we'll take you through the board approval process. There is a board for both condos and co-ops. In a co-op, they will probably have an interview, but again, the board package is something that we'll go over together and really go through that process. You can get a home protection plan. Again, we'll do a walkthrough before the closing to make sure everything of the owners is out of there. And finally, we'll go to the closing table. And again, a lot of it's done virtually these days. But I'll be here for you every step of the way, and even helping you with movers if you need them, contractors. I've got a great friend who's an interior designer as well. So anything you might need, I'm here for. Again, with coronavirus, we've really adapted, and we can do a lot of things, showings, open houses, whatnot, virtually. So if you would like to do any of this stuff, I'm happy to go there and to help you do everything virtually, right? So again, as a buyer's agent, I am here to negotiate on your behalf, right? I know about the neighborhood and things that have sold. Again, I've sold 15 properties down here in Soho. I'm very good at putting together professional offers that beat out other offers. And I'm very good at negotiating, right? Although, I find myself as a very good negotiator because people like working with me, right? Because I have your best interest at heart, but I'm not going to walk away from the table just because, someone said something or get upset, right? I'm very level-headed, and I'm able to really get you the best price possible. Again, I'm your single point of contact for anything that you see online. And I think this is great. Oftentimes you're looking on a thousand different websites, not a problem. I love looking online too. That's actually one of my hobbies. I like to look at properties in other cities and stuff like that. So anything that you find, be it on Weichert.com, from a new development, for sale by owner, an open house you see, whatever it is, right? Just send it over to me and I will do the due diligence and make sure that it's real, right? Sometimes we see things and you're like, my God, this is too good to be true. Usually there's a reason for it, unfortunately. And so I'm here to look into that. But if we do find one that's overvalued, great, let's jump on it. So anything on any broker website, StreetEasy, Realtor, whatever, I have access to it, and please feel free to send it over. Again, I'm here for you to explain the steps before they happen, to get back to you promptly. And again, we'll be communicating pretty frequently, to connect you to all services that you need, to provide feedback as anything changes, to represent you, right? And I do this at no cost to you whatsoever. And you've got my skills as a negotiator. And I'm here to simplify the process. I know this is your first home purchase in New York, and I want to be here not only for this home purchase, for the next ones, and to make sure that I work with your friends and family as well. Oops, let's get that one. Again, I know we mentioned that you were not pre-approved yet, so I'd love to help connect you with a couple of Weichert services, including our financial services representative, Doug Cleary, who can help get you pre-approved. And again, I'll give him your information. He'll give you a call. When works well for you? I think you said Tuesday at 4. Is that correct? Great. I'll have him call you then. And again, we're here for the entire journey. Really excited to go out and see some properties with you, or see some more properties. This has been very helpful for me to get to know you a bit better, and for you to get to know me a bit better. There's only 2 forms that I'm just going to ask you to sign. And again, this is not a contract. This is not saying that you have to work with me or anything like this. This is the buyer representation disclosure form. And all this says is that you understand that in any property that I show to you, I'm representing you as the buyer, as your agent. And again, that comes at no cost to you. I'm just going to type in your name. You just sign and date this. Great. And this is the anti-discrimination disclosure form. So basically, I just want to let you know that it is my job to be as open as possible and inclusive as possible. And what I'm going to do is to listen to what you're asking me and things like that. And I'm not going to discriminate in any way whatsoever. And these are the different ways that you could be discriminated against. And again, I find myself very good at being open. But again, if you feel like there's anything wrong, you can call the Department of State. And I just have to have you sign just saying that you totally understand this. Great. That's it. Again, we'll keep these for anything that we see. So this is the only time you have to sign those. Obviously, the COVID forms come up a lot, so we're gonna have a bunch of those to do down the line. But I'm really looking forward to working with you guys. Again, any questions, anything you need from me, please let me know. But really excited to be working with you and help you find your home. Okay, and that is it. So that's it for the buyer consultation. Again, it can be done. I think I did that in like under 10 minutes, maybe 12 minutes or something like that. I do talk fast, so I apologize for that. But any questions that you guys have, just let me know. Again, thank you for this. I'm going to stop the recording